Hello guys, and welcome to yet another Full Step Timeline Hangout. This will be another not for the timeline. Got a lot of ground to cover. New stuff and old stuff. The new stuff is that the odious Harvey Weinstein, who's on trial for rape again in New York, has been convicted again of one rape, and this time he has only himself to blame. There was talk of him taking the stand. He didn't take the stand in this. Well, this appears to be, well, it's a regular thing in American cases. The defendant very rarely takes a stand in murder trials, rape trials, any trial. In a rape trial, unless there's very good reasons for a defendant not taking a stand, he should take a stand, because you're putting these accusers, who may be victims, at times they are victims, not all allegations of rape, of course, but you're putting them, subjecting them to a grueling cross-examination. In that connection, I've just been revisiting the rape case of Tony Ayala Jr. Ayala was a boxer, world-class boxer, and he did things outside the ring which, well, you think he's in the ring, he shouldn't do, like spitting on an opponent, but he was a sexual predator of. He ended up spending literally half his life in prison, and on January 1st, 1983, in the small hours of New Year's Day, which happened to be the victim's birthday, he broke into this woman's house, and it's really horrible. And when the case came to trial, he claimed it was consensual, and I mean, it was just what they put this poor girl through. He ended up behind bars for 16 years. But, you know, if you're going to put an accuser, it could be a rape, it could be an assault, or it could be a wounding or something like that, of either sex. It doesn't have to be a sexual offence. If you're going to put an alleged victim through a cross-examination, then you should take the stand yourself. And Weinstein didn't. Oh, the guy's a pig, but is he a rapist? And I don't know if it'll be another appeal, but the foreman of the jury wasn't too happy with. Let's just see if I can find a couple of clips, which I'll play for you. Just the sound, not the video. Right, this is from The Guardian, YouTube from The Guardian, I presume it's on the Guardian website as well. This is 1 minute 33 seconds, 1 minute 38 seconds.
The best way to get the workforce to embrace generative AI technology is first to get them trained, second, give them hands-on experience, and third, really communicate as a leader why this is going to help them engineer themselves a better job for the future.
Testifying in the face of constant disruptions, victim shaming, and deliberate attempts to distort the truth was exhausting and at times dehumanizing. But today's verdict gives me hope. Hope that there is new awareness around sexual violence and that the myth of the perfect victim is fading. And I hope that this result empowers others to speak out and seek justice. To those predators who still believe they can exploit, abuse, and walk away unscathed, your time is running out. The world is changing, and you will not outrun the consequences of your actions forever.
It's a big win for everyone. Harvey Weinstein will be in jail. He was convicted 3 times on very serious crimes. Me testifying in this court is for all the women and all the young survivors.
That'll do. The second woman, Weinstein was cleared of raping her, and would you believe that the first woman, Miriam Harley, standing next to her was the odious Gloria Allred, who should be in prison herself, if not for framing Bill Cosby as a serial rapist, then for that horrible business with Judge Roy Moore and the forgery. I'll put a link to that below. I said Miriam Harley, Miriam Haley. And here's something about the mistrial. This is from Reuters.
The judge overseeing Harvey Weinstein's sex crimes case in Manhattan declared a mistrial on a rape charge Thursday, one of 3 counts the disgraced movie mogul faced. The judge ended the retrial after the jury foreperson refused to continue deliberations following multiple days of reported infighting among jurors that at times was aired in the courtroom. Weinstein's attorney, Arthur Adala, told reporters there was intimidation at play.
We have very powerful evidence that there was gross juror misconduct at this trial. Very powerful evidence, not just relying on what we saw in the courtroom, what you all saw in the courtroom about a juror saying he's being so intimidated he refused to go back into the deliberating room. None of us have ever heard of that.
But juror number 12, who did not wish to be named, told reporters he thought everyone on the jury was being respectful.
I mean, this is very first my first time. I thought we had a great group. I think everybody was being respectful. And
What happened in there? Why was so much drama?
yeah, I don't think it was about what was recorded.
No?
No.
This is a classic case of 2 people reporting on the same incident in different ways. The Sean Combs trial is going on at the moment, and there is one woman who claims to have been raped by both Weinstein and Combs. She is Crystal McKinney. Sean Diddy Combs and Harvey Weinstein were both accused of drugging and sexually assaulting model Crystal McKinney. Well, I mean, to be drugged and raped by one celebrity is unfortunate, but to be drugged and raped by 2 is, dear idea. I'm not a great Oscar Wilde fan, but I can resist that. So I don't know what's. There was an expert witness for this Weinstein trial. Deborah Davis. Believe women. Expert witness. Believe women. To explain why, if a woman is raped, she keeps going back for more. Believe women. Absolute rubbish. Absolute rubbish. We might not have heard the last of that, but that guy, the lawyer, he should have put Weinstein on the stand, but he's got another trial. Well, I think he might have 2 trials, actually. Then he's having to keep him behind. But I'm not losing sleep over it. The guy's a pig. But this whole business of it's all wrong what they've been doing here. Sean Combs, from what I've seen of Combs, there appears to be evidence he committed offences which are nothing to do with sex, like arson. Well, there's testimony he committed arson. That's in New York as well. But what he was doing and his girlfriend was utterly depraved. I mean, it was some things homosexuals do. He's been accused of that as well. But it's depraved, sordid, sick. But is he illegal? Should it be illegal? I think he'll probably be convicted of something, and he's going to spend a lot of time in prison for basically being a pervert. Right, let's look at some other stuff. We've got a lot of ground to cover here, in no particular order, and this is a rather unusual case. This is a guy who was convicted of rape. Apparently there was a rape, but it wasn't him. And I'll post an image of him, and you'll see what I mean when I say that it's difficult to imagine that a case of mistaken identity. Anyway, I'll post a photograph of him. You can see what I mean. That is Sergei Pelletier. That's from the Toronto Star, August the 5th, 1986. And the story is impotent man jailed in rape, finally freed after long fight. Story by William Marston. And I'll go through some of it. To the judge, it seemed obvious that Serge Pelletier was guilty. I think it's Pelletier was guilty. He had a history of minor assaults. He was seen leaving a bus near the scene of the crime. He was wearing a pair of pants somewhat similar to those described by the victim, and he signed a confession. So on March 25th, 1985, Judge Claude Martin sent Pelletier to prison for 4 years for the rape of a University of Montreal student. But there was a problem. Pelletier, who was 35 at the time, could not have committed the crime, and he's impotent. He lost his sexual prowess after a prostate gland operation in 1982, and his obesity, 295 pounds on a 5'6" frame, would have made sexual intercourse nearly impossible without considerable help from his partner. There are other important reasons why he could not have committed the crime. Still, he spent more than a year in provincial and federal jails, including Archambault, a maximum security prison in Laval. Recently, he was freed after a second judge acquitted him. Pelletier intends to sue the police for $100,000. His case, he says, will be that the police took advantage of his mental illness, which doesn't exist. That's another story. He'd been diagnosed slightly psychotic and persuaded him to sign a confession. Police admitted in court that during the interrogation they gave Pelletier all the details of the rape, and they confirmed them. He simply kept saying yes. I mean, my father was once beaten by the police, Pelletier said in an interview. If I didn't say yes, I thought I'd be beaten too. It's better to be slightly retarded. At age 21, he was diagnosed as schizophrenic with violent tendencies and sent to a Montreal mental hospital for 2 years. Prior to his rape arrest, Pelletier had been convicted of 5 minor assaults between 1977 and 1981, including punching a 12-year-old boy and hitting him with a snowball, and kicking a waiter who failed to respond to his observation that it was a nice day. Nice day to kick waiters. The rape occurred November 29, 1984, as a 22-year-old student was returning from school to a Longueuil home. At 11:10 p.m, she caught a bus from the Longueuil subway station. About 10 minutes later, she left the bus, took about 20 steps up a street, was grabbed, dragged behind the hedge and raped. She told police her attacker was a big man, I guess his height at 5'11" and his weight at 250 pounds. The victim also noted that he spoke with a high voice and that his breath stank of alcohol. Pelletier's voice is deep. There's a lot more here, but I mean, it's ludicrous really, but there's far worse miscarriages of justice than that. Here's a very recent case I won't be adding to the timeline. This is from the Press and Journal, which is the Aberdeen newspaper. Man's relief after being found not guilty of rape, by David McPhee, June the 12th. A man, one word. A man has been found not guilty of raping a female student in an Aberdeen flat. Stuart Kennedy, also known as Mitchell Kennedy, was on trial at the High Court in Aberdeen, accused of raping and sexually assaulting a 23-year-old woman at a student accommodation building on the city's Pittodrie Street on November 16, 2022. Initially faced an additional count of engaging in a course of abusive behaviour against the same woman, who cannot be named for legal reasons. Was acquitted of that charge on the second day of the trial. A jury of 8 women and 7 men took just over an hour and a half to clear Mr Kennedy by majority. But I won't be adding that. I mean, he's not guilty, so. Jeffrey Epstein. Yeah. There's a film about Jeffrey Epstein called Filthy Rich. I reviewed it. I gave it 6 out of 10. I won't read my review here, but it's interesting that quite a few people are sceptical of some of the stories told by these survivors. At least these two have both given it 6 out of 10. This is something called Blade Runner 2025, Blade Runner 2025. Shows how ridiculous #MeToo was at some cases, and how it was used as a tool for making dollars, $3 signs, for fame or revenge. Why do they call them survivors? Did he kill anyone? And almost all of the survivors, as Netflix labels them, say the same story. Oh, he abused me, but then he called me again and I went back to his house. Exclaim. But he abused me, but I kept going to his house whenever he called me. For years, exclaim. He was abusing me, but when he called me for a trip in his private plane, I was at the airport in 30 minutes, exclaim. He was abusing me, but when he asked me for free vacations, I said yes, and went with them. He was abusing me, but I also brought and introduced him my sister. That's an obvious reference to Maria Farmer, her younger sister Annie. And this is Fake Emotions by someone whose name I hadn't put in the screen grab. One of the victims says, I felt very bad after his abuse. I was so scared. Then I introduced my little sister to him. That's got to be Maria Farmer again. Another victim says, being harassed was a terrible feeling. Then I got $200 and went back the next day. Then I invited my friends to him. Come on! He's a monster, and I'm very sorry for the real victims. But those in this documentary just want attention and money. And for the records, 17-year-olds are conscious and not hypnotised. That appears to be a reference to the odious and now deceased Virginia Giuffre. At the time, Virginia Roberts. Yeah, the other night I was hanging out with Act Nation, the most amazing black dude in America, and the conversation got around to this. And I keep saying this. I think the whole Epstein business is all smoke and mirrors. I don't believe there was any great sexual abuse. I certainly don't believe that Bill Clinton or Richard Branson were involved in it. I think basically this guy was just a degenerate who liked being massaged by 14-year-olds. Apparently watched a lot of child porn, really horrible stuff. So, no, I don't believe any of it, but you'll never convince anyone of that. I mean, a lot of these people won't be convinced that he committed suicide. But when people believe that the 9/11 attacks were orchestrated by George W. Bush, the Oklahoma bombing was a false flag by Bill Clinton, and that the CIA murdered JFK, no, I mean, they can believe anything they want, but the evidence, I find the evidence against Epstein wanting. I think in Britain he would have got, I doubt if he'd got 10 years in Britain, 5 or 6 years, and Ghislaine Maxwell would have got about the same. This is another sordid case, this time from New Zealand, which is definitely not going to the database. Taranaki man acquitted of rape, assault after claims by a woman he was in BDSM relationship with. This is June the 5th. Yesterday, Judge Tony Gregg accepted the man's evidence and found him not guilty of rape, doing an indecent act, and 2 of assaulting a person with a blunt instrument. The man cannot be named to protect the woman's automatic right to name suppression. The judge-alone trial in the New Plymouth District Court began on Tuesday with the woman's evidence, which explained the Taranaki couple were in a relationship for around 18 months from 2020 to 2021. They had a BDSM or bondage and discipline, dominance and submission, sadism and masochism verbal agreement. There's a lot more there, but I mean, no, apparently he didn't hear the safe word or something. So what have we got next? This is something called rape charge dropped. This is from the Mid-Sussex Times, January 19th, 1990. And it says simply that the 2 charges of rape against Daniel Nathan McWethy of St Andrews Road have been dropped after the principal witness refused to give evidence. Right. Well, I'm not going to put any time on those things stand, but why did she change her mind? We know what the feminists will say. This one is personal. I submitted a correction or more information to the Rolf Harris entry on the International Movie Database. I added it under the trivia section. On November 16, 2017, the Court of Appeal quashed his conviction for indecently assaulting his youngest accuser. He faced a second trial and a retrial, but was not convicted of any further offences. Several of the accusers have now been totally discredited and rejected. Reason: not enough evidence. Your contribution has been declined. We have been unable to verify your contribution. BS, total BS. What they did to that man is outrageous. I'll put a link to my video about the Rolf Harris witch hunt below. This is from either Northern Ireland or Ireland, or Drogheda was. Drogheda Independent, is it? Drogheda. That's the Irish Republic. August 19th, 2005. And the story is alleged rape victim withdraws complaint by Jimmy Cunningham. A woman who alleged she was sexually assaulted, abducted by 2 men before being dumped in a forest on the outskirts of Drogheda has withdrawn a complaint to Gardaí. The woman had claimed she left a Drogheda nightclub when she was approached by the 2 men who had been cruising the town in a white high-powered car. The quality of the print here is terrible. She said did not know. The quality of the journalist is terrible as well. She said did not know her attackers and the horrific sexual assault occurred at the forest at Townley Hall. The alleged attack took place in June 2005. The woman claimed she was attacked during a terrifying 4-hour ordeal only ended when the 2 men spent. It's terrible, the quality of this writing. Since the complaint, Gardaí have taken video footage from a number of security cameras in the town. As if she had a drunken threesome or just made it up. They make up a lot of the time, these women. They literally make it up for no reason. Which brings me to Vice. Vice. Where the idea of false rape accusations really comes from, by Sonia Sharp, October 3rd, 2018. It's a very unfortunate photograph of Christine Blasey Ford, that arch liar. Kathy Morris Hoffer worried she might be shouting. For many women, especially those who work with survivors of sexual assault, it's getting harder by the day not to scream. The discussion about false rape allegations is frankly a profound waste of time, the executive director of the Chicago Alliance Against Sexual Exploitation told me when asked about the pervasive myth parroted by President Trump Tuesday night that women routinely fabricate stories of sexual assault. If you read this far, you know it's true. The reason it keeps cropping up is not because it has any basis in truth, but because it's effective. It promotes unreasonable doubt that lands on virtually every survivor. Casting doubt seems to have been Trump's aim when he trotted the lie out Tuesday. It was ugly even for him, a man who's himself been accused of sexual violence or harassment by many women. Yes, many women. And you know what they've all got in common? Two things. They never said anything at the time, and they're all lying, because it never happened at the time. They want to destroy people, the president said, apparently referring to survivors like Dr. Christine Blasey Ford. Oh dear. I'll put a link to the page of the Brett Kavanaugh witch hunt. I mean, that's absolutely outrageous. I think this bitch should have been prosecuted for perjury, actually. Believe women. Many people report that the trauma and the pain of reporting their rape is equivalent to and sometimes greater than the pain caused by the rape itself. Yeah? Prosecutors know this, police do too. Yeah, I mean, we've got the usual crap about statistics here. Using federal crime numbers, the Rape, Abuse and Incest National Network estimated that for every 1,000 rapes, 57 reports will lead to arrests, 11 will refer to prosecutors, and just some cases will lead to felony conviction. There are lies, damn lies, and false rape statistics. Yeah. No, I mean, there's so much crap here, it's unbelievable. Nobody else thinks the guy who got robbed made up the robbery. Well, they do! You know, that happens as well. Lots of cases of that. People, they steal money from the employer and claim for being robbed. They make false insurance claims. All sorts of things, yeah. I mean, why do they get the nerve to write this crap up? It just let's look at a few reasons from the database when women make up rape claims. Types of false rape accuser. The gangbang. Women who have group sex and then withdraw their consent afterwards. One of the most notorious was Dan Maradona, the Hofstra University case. Asylum sneakers. Corrupt lawyers actually school them how to make false rape allegations and all sorts of allegations to get refugee status. Attention seeking. This is so many of these women do this just to get attention. This is a bandwagon effect. Dogpiling. Somebody's accused of rape, a celebrity, and then women crawl out of the woodwork, out of the gutter, and a few of them out of the sewer to make false allegations. Even sometimes, if you have a genuine case like serial sexual predator Daniel Holtzclaw, Oklahoma City police officer, there were 6 or 7 false accusers of him, including a man who has remorse or regret sex. They withdraw their consent retroactively. Campus accusers, women are brainwashed by feminists on campus to believe they've been raped because they've had a drink or two and that they weren't able to consent. Rumours, you know, copycats, that's another one. This is similar to bandwagoning. There are dedicated fabricators, pathological liars, women who are seriously not right in the head. Lots of these things. And there are false memories. Most of the historical allegations, you know, if a woman in her 30s or 40s claims to have been raped when she was a young girl, it's almost certainly as a result of confabulation. Maybe she's seen a child abuse plot in a soap opera or rape in a soap opera, and it triggers something. But these memories are unreliable without extremely strong cooperation. Just, I mean, ludicrous. This is another case I won't be into the database. Footy star TC Rabati is found not guilty of rape before making shock move over a separate sexual assault. You might guess that was from the Daily Mail. This is June 11th, so yeah, Published June 11th, updated June 11th, 5 minutes later. Former Broncos player appeared in Brisbane court, was accused of raping a woman in a pub toilet. Don't have sex in a toilet, please. Do not have sex in a toilet. How disgusting. After the trial verdict was handed down Wednesday, Rebecca pleaded guilty to sexually assaulting a different woman in a separate incident. He remained in court for sentencing that charge, but was not part of the trial to be found not guilty of 2 counts of rape. He pleaded not guilty to raping a woman twice in a disabled toilet of a pub on December 11, 2022. So why'd she go to the toilet with him? Crown Prosecutor Isabel McNichol earlier alleged Rabati lured the woman into a pub toilet, promising access to an exclusive event before raping her. Well, that was an exclusive event. Seriously, these guys, just no. Absolutely no way is that going in the database. Boy cleared of rape charge. This is from Leicester Mercury, February 10th, 1993. A 16-year-old boy has been cleared of raping a drunken schoolgirl in their own bed following a party. The jury acquitted the youth on the judge's direction to return a not guilty verdict at the close of the prosecution case at Leicester Crown Court. Judge David Running agreed with the defence application that there was insufficient evidence to convict the youth. He said it would be unsafe to proceed with the trial due to lack of evidence in support of the victim's claim that she did not consent to sex. The Leicester teenager denied raping the girl in January last year when they were both 15. He claimed she not only willingly had sex with him, but actually invited him to have intercourse with her. I presume that sex and intercourse are the same thing. The alleged victim, now 16, told the jury she was completely oblivious the sex act took place as she slept off the effects of alcohol at home after a daytime party for friends. 15-year-old drinking alcohol. Where are the parents? Where are the parents? Well, whoever said that I was drinking alcohol when I was 14. Beer. But not having sex. In retrospect, I'm glad I didn't. I'm glad I wasn't able to. When interviewed, the defendant said he went upstairs to see how the girl was after she became ill to a drink at the party when no adults were present. He claimed she partially removed her own clothing and invited him to have sex. I'm not sure about that, or I might put it in the database, I might not, but it's stupid kid stuff. And here we have male rape helpline may not survive cash crisis. This is from News Gazette, August 18th, 1993. The quality of these scans is terrible. I think it's a Dunstable newspaper. Oh, Luton News. Luton News on the front page. News Gazette. I presume it was a Luton News and Gazette or whatever. Newspapers change names all the time. Male Rape Helpline, yeah, by David Tooley. The help service for male rape victims could close at Christmas if vital cash is not forthcoming. Yeah. I need £5,000. Trainee psychiatric nurse Peter Lightower, himself a victim of abuse, is a counsellor and trustee of the charity, which is based in Caddington. Mr. Lightower set up survivors in 1991 after discovering there was a growing demand for help from men. No, this is BS. What's happened here is that the feminist movement has encouraged this sort of thing to garner male support for the erosion of due process. And no, these are mostly faggots who've changed their mind afterwards or have claimed to have been sexually abused because they're ashamed of what they've done. Maybe men who are heterosexual, but they've had like one-off encounters doing things that no man should do with another man. Right, what have we got here? The Sunderland Echo City Final, August the 27th, 2004. Rape accused cleared by jury. A South African immigrant accused of raping a woman after she fell asleep at a house party has been cleared by jury. George Abreu was found not guilty of attacking a woman as she lay in bed with another man at a flat in Washington, in the north of England. But after the verdict in the Newcastle Crown Court, Judge Esmond Fulks remanded Abreu back into custody under Home Office immigration laws. He came into this country on a false passport. We do not know if he is George Abreu. Well, of course, if he'd done it now, they'd pick him up in the hotel. Tell me about it. The woman had gone to a bedroom with another male member of the party, and they both fallen asleep fully clothed after having sex. I mean, no. Abreu was arrested and denied having sex with her. Forgetting about DNA. When asked why he lied by saying no intercourse took place, he said, because if I told him I did have sex with her, it was going to ruin my whole relationship with my girlfriend. And yeah, just, I don't know. Where do they find these people? This is from the Barnoldswick and Earby Times. I've heard about these places. July 7, 2000. Cleared of sex attack. A taxi driver said to have sexually attacked a terrified young mother on her own doorstep has been cleared. Shaheen Janjua of Gordon Road, Nelson, was found not guilty of 2 counts of indecent assault by a Burnley Crown Court jury after a 3-day trial. He was discharged from the dock by Judge David Pirrie. The prosecution alleged the defendant had folded the woman at the door of her home in Colne and then returned later and placed her in a tight bear hug and kissed her head and face. The woman was said to have been terrified and called her father. I have no idea how old she was. When he arrived, Janjua was alleged to have come back again and asked if a taxi was needed. The court heard that when Janjua was later arrested and interviewed by police, he gave a completely different account. Yeah. He got a result. It's our racist justice system. This is from the Shropshire Star, May 12th, 1995. Teenager cleared of sex attack. A teenager who allegedly launched sex attacks on a 12-year-old schoolboy he was said to have been babysitting has been cleared. After legal argument, Southwark Crown Court Judge Jeffrey Rucker said evidence by key prosecution witnesses against Paul Hughes, 19, had been mutually destructive. That's interesting, isn't it? Dismissing the case yesterday, he told the jury to return formal not guilty verdicts on 2 counts of buggery and 2 of indecent assault, which the teenager from Weir Gifford near Torrington, North Devon, had denied. His alleged victim, who lives in East London, told police he was frightened by Hughes into participating in various sex acts. But the court heard that when arrested, Hughes insisted he'd never babysat for him, nor be alone with him. That's really weird. I don't know about that. Where's the physical evidence? Does a 12-year-old schoolboy need a babysitter as such? Well, I suppose you call it a babysitter. That's weird. Ex-cop. This one is Express and Star. That'll be Wolverhampton. February 25th, 1975. Ex-policeman cleared of sex attack. Former police constable Michael Clark was cleared today of indecently assaulting a 15-year-old girl. He was cleared on a judge's direction at Winchester Crown Court. Clark, aged 22, he wasn't a policeman for long then, of Southampton, was also found not guilty of assault with intent to do grievous bodily harm, maliciously inflicting grievous bodily harm, and assault occasioning actual bodily harm. The jury found him guilty of common assault and he was given an absolute discharge and lost his job. Mr. Justice Bristow told Clark, "You got yourself into a mess which is understandable, even if it is stupid, and you behaved very stupidly afterwards in trying to cover up your actions. But you've had this hanging over you for a long time. It can't be that long, if he's 22. I think you've been punished enough." The prosecution alleged that Clark tried to strangle the girl in his car at Southampton Sports Centre last May, and that he dragged her from the passenger seat and kicked her in the head 3 times. She needed 21 stitches in cuts to her head, the court heard. Clark had resigned from the police. I bet he resigned. Since he said in evidence the girl got her injuries resisting his attempt to remove her from the car. It's a bit like he fell down the stairs, Your Honour. I don't know what to make of that. And one more. This is an Expression Star again. September 13, 1982. Player cleared of sex attack. Former soccer star Mark Dennis was today cleared of making a drunken sex attack on a 15-year-old girl. The jury of 6 men and 6 women took just 5 minutes to return their unanimous not guilty verdict at Kingston Crown Court. I may include that actually. 31-year-old former Birmingham City and Queen's Park Rangers star denied indecent assault. Dennis of Mission, London, greeted the verdict by punching the air his left fist, like that, his left fist. Says simply, yes! During the 3-day trial, the court was told how the girl was groped outside a fast food restaurant in Mitcham in August last year. Dennis did not give evidence, but claimed to his counsel that he was the victim of mistaken identity. Probably didn't want the jury to know he was a soccer player. Right, that'll do, I think. So that's not for the timeline. I'm not sure what number that is. Harvey Weinstein, you brought it on yourself, mate. No sympathy for you. Enjoy the rest of your life. Sean Combs, well, I mean, if you would engage in depraved sex acts. Right, so that's a fair selection there. Please visit the International Full Soap Timeline and look at some of the other videos there, especially mention of alcohol and drugs, which are responsible for a lot of false allegations, a lot of genuine ones as well, but a lot of false rape allegations from women who drink too much and then wake up one morning and have flashbacks, which are incorrect. Okay, that's another hangout with the International Full Soap Timeline.